Okay, Hare Krishna. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Radical Chinese Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Today we're in the Madhya Lila, which is the beginning of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And the verse? Yeah. What's the verse number? 208. Yes. Huh? 209. Thank you, you guys. Okay, so we're at 209. This is a very beautiful section of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And let me just find it here. Years ago when Durashar Prabhu was in Hong Kong, he was in charge of the BBT there. And he actually printed this one volume set of Chaitanya Charitamrita. A little bit about it. Some of the devotees here are quite experienced and senior. And I remember an editing project done by a professor who was an underwriter, who was a writer, thank you so much. He was a writer for the #1 international writing department of Iowa State University. And after he did a edit on one of the books that my Guru Maharaj had written, and he gave it to Durashar Prabhu to check it. Durashar Prabhu found 200 mistakes in it. That's how good of an editor he is. Durashar, the one running the restaurant. Yeah, he printed this book that I'm using right now in Hong Kong. Okay, here we are. So this is a wonderful section. It's the discussion between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And text, yes, 209. So I'm going to read the storyline, and then we'll go back and discuss this. There's a one verse worth of purport, but most of it is just story. So I'll do both. But we always begin with chanting a prayer to Lord Chaitanya. So Jaya Jaya, please repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Veda Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All right, so here's text 209. I'm just going to read the Bengali in this verse. It goes, Radhara Sarupa Krishna Prema Kalpalata Shakti Gana Hayatara Palava Pushpapata. Do you guys know any of those words? You know Radha? Pushpas, flowers, yeah. So Radhara Sarupa. Do you know what Sarup means? Form. So Radha Sarupa. What does that mean? The form of Radharani, right? Let's see what the translation is. The spiritual nature of Srimati Radharani is what Prabhupada translated. So Sarupa can also refer to one's nature. And then we have Krishna Prema, love for Krishna, right? How about Kalpalata? Lata is a creeper, and Kalpa is Kalpataru, right? We've heard this name before. It's translated here as a kripa, but generally Kalpa refers to like a Kalpa Vriksha, like a wish-fulfilling creeper, right? Like my wife, her name, her mother gave her is Prema Lata. So Prema, right, means what? Spontaneous love of God. And Lata means the creeper. So translation, of course, it's the name of Radharani. It means the creeper of selfless love. So why a creeper? Because a creeper is female. And because a flowering vine, it entwines itself around a tree generally. So Krishna, who is a male, is compared to be a tree, right? We refer to him as a tamal tree, or there's other types of trees, right? He's referred to generally because he's a male, he's rooted, he's a support. And the Lata, like Radharani, is entwining herself around Krishna. So Premalata means the creeper of selfless love, and here Kalpa Lata means, that's a beautiful name actually, Kalpa Lata. That means the creeper that fulfills all wishes, wish-fulfilling creeper. Okay? Okay, sure, I'll stay right up here. So, how about Sakigan? Like you guys have heard the word like Vishnu Jan or Vishnu Gan, right? Or what do you guys have in India? I mean, they refer to like low-class people. There was a famous thing, a movement created by, who was it? Mahatma Gandhi, Hari Jan, right? So here we have the name Sakigan or Sakijan. What's that mean? A group of friends, right? Let's see what Prabhupada translates it as. The gopis. Okay. And Tara. Tara also means creeper, like Lata. So different words have multiple meanings in Sanskrit, right? Can you give me one example of a word that has many meanings or a few meanings that you know in Sanskrit? Atma. And what are those meanings? Atma can mean the soul, the mind, and the body. So if we're talking about ourselves and we're on the bodily platform, then we're also talking about the Atma, but we're in ignorance. Okay, next word is what? Oh, this is another beautiful word. You know, I know there was a devotee, one Prabhupada disciple, one of the very first Prabhupada disciples, his daughter, she used to come here, her name was something Tara. Hari Tara. Huh? But also used like Lata. But here's another name that you'll hear sometimes, Pallava. Pallava. What does that refer to? Pallava means twigs. Twigs. I go to a health club nearby here, and I use eucalyptus oil in the sauna. I put it on the rocks. It makes it like mentholyptic inside the air, you know? So everybody always asks me, hey, what is that? Or I ask them, you know, you guys mind if I put this on? Because I kind of grew up doing that. And then I always I'll tell them that eucalyptus was used by Srila Prabhupada. He used to ask my guru, Tamal Krishna Goswami, to collect eucalyptus twigs, about a little bit longer than the size of a pencil, same thickness as a pencil, from eucalyptus twigs, from trees like in California. And in India, they'll use eucalyptus, but sometimes they'll use neem twigs. So what Prabhupada did was he used to chew on the end of the twigs. So when you chew, it creates like a brush, but it also releases the sap, which is a perfect toothpaste. It's an antiseptic toothpaste. So Prabhupada would brush his teeth with that and then use the twig as a tongue scraper and then throw it away. And he said that that is the perfect system arranged by Krishna. And he told us that, he told my Guru Maharaj that our Western toothbrushes is like reusing toilet paper. So twigs, Prabhupada was fond of eucalyptus twigs, and pushpa, you said flowers, and pata, leaves, right? You know a word with pata that refers to leaves? There was an Indian girl here the other day, her name was Bilva Pata, right? The Bilva leaf. Our Bilva leaves are used to worship Krishna, aren't they? For Lord Shiva, oh, yeah, we have a Shiva devotee here. Bhakta Dustin, he knows. Yeah, for worshiping Lord Shiva, Bilva. But we also have a charya named Bilva Mangala Thakur. The Bilva leaf is considered to be very auspicious, like a tulsi leaf. Why is a tulsi leaf auspicious? Because it's green. Tastes pretty good. She's a great devotee of Krishna, and the leaf is very, very, very fond. Krishna is very fond of the leaf because not only does it represent the Vrinda Devi, who arranges. She's the most intimate friend of Radha and Krishna. Is not friend. She's more of a manjari. She's a servant of them. She's like a younger girl, but she arranges all these different things for them, for their pastimes, and makes arrangements and paraphernalia for them, and builds swings and makes flower garlands and houses out of flowers and all kinds of like really unique things that her and her friends do that. But so Bilva Mangala Thakur, but Tulsi, the leaf, also all of the holy places in the entire universe are contained within one Tulsi leaf. Like, I mean, this stuff is like way beyond our ability to comprehend, but it's stated like that, you know, just like all Krishna's potencies are in the holy name of Krishna, right? But we're so covered. We're saying Krishna's name again and again and again and again, and yet we're not really experiencing Krishna. And the reason is because we are ignoring Krishna. We're very close. Krishna loves us so much, he stays constantly with us. He never separates himself from us, even for a millisecond. But we're like right next to Krishna, but we have our back turned to Krishna. Okay, so now let's read about Lord Chaitanya. So here it is. By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead. And the gopis are the twigs, flowers, and leaves of the creeper. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on the creeper, the happiness derived by the twigs, flowers, and leaves is 10 million times greater than that derived by the creeper itself. So you follow, right? The creeper is Radharani, the twigs are the gopis. And Krishna is compared to be like a bumblebee. So if you look at a tulsi plant, like over here at the greenhouse, sometimes we don't really get these big bees, but in India you get these big, huge black and yellow bees. They're huge. They're like you could have it in your palm. And they land on the tulsi plants. And so when they land on the tulsi, or like on a flowering creeper, we're using a creeper here, so let's say a jasmine creeper. So when the bumblebee lands on the creeper to drink the nectar from the flowers, from the creeper, all the twigs, they shake as the bee moves. All those twigs, all the like manjaris is a better example, like the manjaris of a tulsi plant. When a bee lands on the tulsi plant, all the manjaris shake with the plant. So in the same way, whatever love is experienced by Srimati Radharani is multiplied, here it says, by 10 million times for the gopis. So it's not that, like, you know, in the Vedic culture, we have this words dasa and dasi, right? There's really no English comparison to that. We say servant, but a servant implies somebody that's paid for what they do. And a slave is somebody that's forced to do things against their will. But a dasa and a dasi is someone that surrenders themselves fully like a slave, but voluntarily, and expects nothing in return for their service and their love. So it's a little bit different than a servant, it's different than a slave. But it's somebody that is completely, what's the word I want to use? Not just submissive, but they're totally, not just surrendered. They are, you know, they have made the will of Krishna their will. So the gopis are in that position, And they experience a love much greater than Radharani herself by serving Radharani. That's why, like in our culture, in our tradition, yes, we have Radha Madhava in Mayapur with the Ashtashakis. So they're the 8 main friends of Radha and Krishna, right? But they're not considered as, their position is not considered as great or as intimate as the Manjaris of Srimati Radharani. So just like we were talking about Vrinda Devi, just like every morning we do the Tulsi Arti. So the Tulsi Arti, why aren't we worshiping Lalita? Why aren't we worshiping Vishaka? We do worship them, but why don't we worship them like what? Because the Manjaris, they have no desire to enjoy with Krishna. They're not interested in being Krishna's friend. They're only interested in satisfying Radha and bringing Radha and Krishna together. So the Manjaris are the only ones who can actually witness Radha and Krishna's pastimes. Lalita and Vishaka don't go in the room or anywhere near Radha when she's with Krishna. But the Manjaris witness Radha and Krishna's pastimes. And so their position is so worshipful because they're actually able to see directly the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna and interact with those pastimes. And it says here they also experience a happiness 10 million times greater than Radha and Krishna. Once there was this big program. This famous Mayavadi came here to America. Okay, so they invited the devotees to go to this program and other groups. So this Mayavadi was very famous. And so when they let the devotees speak, they let this one speak, that one speak. But when he spoke, he said, "Why do you want to become like the Hare Krishnas? They will teach you to become a servant. If you follow me, I will teach you to become the master." And everybody was clapping. I've been to many programs. Even though I've been to others, I can remember at one program, a young couple that comes here. Their daughter was she was like an amazing Odissi dancer. And they were coming on the Sunday feast. They probably still come. And occasionally. They organized a big event. Paid $40,000 for this dance performance, so Odissi dance graduation performance. They brought a bhajan band from India. They had one professor from, where do you go? Baylor's in Waco, right? Yeah, she was from Baylor, and she's a famous sitar player. She's an American woman. And they had their guru, who was a famous devotee of Jagannath from Bhubaneswar. So she does different dances. So they got Jagannath Rath Yatra on the stage. They have all different Krishna's pastimes, Jagannath pastimes, one dance after the next. She does a whole worship of her mother in one dance. And then at the last dance, I'm reading the program, and everybody in the audience, there's like over 2,000 people in the audience. Everybody, all the men are wearing these like $1,000 suits. All these women are wearing their silk saris with thousands of dollars worth of gold. They're all coming in Mercedes and Lexus and highly educated, highly successful people. And then the last program, she does this whole dance, and then she sits down in meditation, and she merges and becomes God. And everybody's in the audience, yes, and I'm also God. It was so obvious, the way they were applauding it when she became merged and became God. And the guru had written that in the program about her becoming God. It was a whole thing highlighted by their guru. Famous Jagannath, Bhakta, so-called Bhakta, who thinks he is Jagannath. But, I'm telling you this because we're reading about how the position of Krishna's servant is even superior to Krishna himself. Here it's described that the gopis, the manjaris, they're experiencing love and satisfaction millions of times greater than God. But they have no conception of that. So here, this example, the bee on the creeper and the leaves, the manjari shake, is given. It says, all the gopis, the personal friends of Srimati Radharani, are equal to her. You know that Radharani is Vishnu Tattva? In the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, there's a discussion of how Lakshmi, when she appears from the ocean of milk, and how she is Vishnu Tattva. It's Krishna himself, he expands himself into Radharani to enjoy loving pastime. She's not a jiva, and she's not like Lord Shiva. She's not a Shiva Tattva, she's not some other Tattva, she's a supreme Tattva. But here it says that her friends are equal to her. What does that mean? Maybe they can dance as good as she dances. I'm always watching Prerna. She dances so well in the kirtan. Hey, what else we got here? It says, so the gopis are equal to Radharani. It says, Krishna is pleasing to the inhabitants of Brajabhumi, just as the moon is pleasing to the lotus flower. With pleasure-giving potency, his pleasure-giving potency is known as Ladini, of which the active principle is Srimati Radharani. She is compared to a creeper with newly grown flowers and leaves. When the nectar of Krishna's gopis when the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on Srimati Radharani, all her friends, the gopis, immediately appreciate the pleasure 100 times more than if they were sprinkled by Krishna himself. Sprinkled by Krishna's pastimes. What does that mean? That means that Krishna dances with them, he hugs them, he kisses them, he eats with them, he talks to them, he dresses with them, where he sports in the water with them. So whenever Krishna, he interacts, he sprinkles these pastimes on Radharani, all the gopis are experiencing the same satisfaction, even millions of times greater. It says here that this verse is also in the Govinda Lilamrita. So do you guys know the book Govinda Lilamrita? Anybody know? Govinda Lilamrita was written by a famous acharya whose wife was an Odissi dancer. His name is Jayadev. And Jayadev, he was renowned not only as a poet, but also as a singer. In fact, he was present during Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and he could sing in such a way that flowers would bloom on trees. He could sing in a way that would force you to tell the truth. Maharaj Pachaparudra used to bring him to the court whenever he had a questionable person in some court hearing, and he would have Jayadev sing certain ragas, and in a certain way it would force the person to speak the truth. The power of sound is so, is so great. And there's many acharyas that are mentioned like that. Jiva Goswami's mentioned that he could speak with such depth that he could force a person's life out of their body. Well, because somebody challenged Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and they said, oh yeah, let us sign that letter and say that you defeated us. And this, they didn't want to waste their time with some arrogant scholar. Do you guys know the story of the donkey and the tiger? You know that story? Anybody know that story? So there was a donkey, and this donkey was going around all over town. He would, the grass is blue. Is the grass blue? But the donkey insisted the black grass was blue. Everywhere he'd go, he'd tell everyone, no, the grass is blue. And he'd get in arguments with people, or with everybody. over how the grass is blue. So there was this tiger who just couldn't stand it anymore, and the tiger started, arguing with them, and they started yelling at each other, and the tiger's yelling about how the grass is green. And so finally the donkey said, well, who are you? He said, let's go to the king. So they go to the lion. So they go to the lion, who's the king, and they ask the lion whether the grass is green or blue. And so the lion tells the donkey, yes, you're right, the grass is blue, have a wonderful day, and don't worry, I will punish this tiger for creating such an argument with you, so he shouldn't speak for 5 years. So the tiger was like all beside himself. What? So the donkey went on his way, hee-haw, hee-haw. And the tiger went to ask the king lion, like, oh, why am I being punished? Obviously the grass is green, this guy's an idiot. And he said, I'm not punishing you because the grass is green. Or he said, I'm punishing you because you are such a great person and you're wasting your time arguing with this idiot donkey. So the same way Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they told this big scholar who was trying to get them to sign, yes, here, let us sign. They signed it, just go ahead, go on your happy way. But when Jiva Goswami heard about it, he challenged this scholar. And he told this scholar, how can you claim to have defeated the master when you haven't defeated the servant? So there was this debate with Jiva Goswami, and it's described there that Jiva Goswami spoke with such heavy knowledge that gradually he was forcing the life air out of the scholar, and the scholar was crying for his life, and he fell on the ground crying like a baby, almost dead. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, somebody so intensely yelling and popping your bubble in such a way that you actually start to cry. But it happens. And Jiva Goswami was a master of knowledge, of all the Vedic knowledge. If anybody who's read his books, it's just such profound information. So we're talking about Radha and Krishna's pastimes here. So presenting various pleas for the gopis, Srimati Radharani sometimes sends the gopis to Krishna just to enable them to associate with him directly. At such time, she enjoys a happiness 10 million times greater than that enjoyed through her direct association. So Radharani, sometimes she wants to experience that love. So she sends the gopis, and then she experiences that love 10 million times greater than her own, and then Krishna's love. Who else experiences the love 10 million times greater than Krishna? How about, who do we got here? How about Nanda Braj Prabhu, Ki Jai? Okay, let's test his love, right? All right. Oh, really? Come on. You guys are all devotees, right? You're giving up everything for Krishna. You're spending so much time and money and energy. All right, let's say, Nanda Braj, if we were going to pay you, how much? How about, nobody cares about millionaires anymore. Let's say $1 billion, right? We got a new billionaire here. I probably shouldn't announce it over the system, but we do have a new devotee billionaire. But there's quite a few billionaire devotees, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. One that I can mention is Ambarish Prabhu. His mother made him the major stockholder of the Ford Motor Corporation. He owns 45% of Ford. Him and his Indian wife, Swaha, they've donated now over $100 million to the TOVP project. That's a billionaire for you, right? He joined the movement here in Dallas. He comes over sometimes to our house. He likes Kumkumangi's cooking. But you'll see him. He comes here occasionally. Okay, so let's say, Nanda Braj, we gave you $1 billion. Would you give up Hare Krishna and go back to, or maybe you never did it, but go out and start eating meat and drinking and, doing all the sinful activities of ordinary person for $1 billion? You wouldn't? Who else? How about Lalita? If Krishna gave you $1 billion right now on the spot, let's just say Krishna came, let's just say, since your name was Lakshmi, let's just say Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, came down from the spiritual world right here on this spot and gave you $1 billion. Would you give up chanting Hare Krishna? You wouldn't? Who else do we got here? Who's that kid back there? She looks like she'd take the $1 billion. What about you? Would you take the money or will you take Krishna? Who do you want? You want Krishna? I thought you guys didn't like Krishna. I thought waking up and seeing Krishna was like, oh my God, I don't like this. No, the reason we get up early is because in the morning our minds are much more peaceful, and it's nice to associate with Krishna when our minds are peaceful. Otherwise, we're so disturbed and distracted by so many problems in the day. That's why we get up early. It's hard. It is hard. But we do it because there's a lot of benefit to it. See, I told you guys, you must be experiencing something greater than I can buy with $1 billion. Oh my God, you hear that, Radhikala Chandji? Nanda Raj wants to qualify as his love all of a sudden. No, the way you get an experience of love of God is you associate with pure devotees of the Lord. Just like, say, who did we have here recently? Radhanath Maharaj. That's not an ordinary human being. You associate with him, you feel different, you feel love. Like when he was speaking, wasn't it amazing? And I have a hard time, like I've got, different joint problems, aches and pains, and da-da-da-da, the whole material song and dance I can give to you. And I was so satisfied talking to him. It's just, not just satisfied, it's way beyond that. It's like so inspirational and deep and with so much love, and it's such a unique experience. So when you have that kind of association, then it's like the person, the spiritual master or pure devotee, becomes a pure via media, a transparent via media. So that if you want to experience Krishna, you got to associate with advanced pure devotees, like Giriraj Maharaj. You go up there and associate with him, you'll experience Krishna. That's how you do it. See, and another way you do it is by doing Sankirtan. We don't always have the chance to associate with pure devotees, but at least we have one another. That also is a lot of inspiration. It gives us a lot of inspiration because we have each other in our lives. We should never neglect one another. It's this association is so beneficial. But the other thing is, see, normally when we practice Krishna consciousness on our own, we're just dealing with our faith and our discipline. I'm getting up, I'm going to Mangalartik, I'm chanting 16 rounds, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, this and that. So faith and discipline. But when you go out and you try to give Krishna consciousness to other people, then you go beyond faith and discipline and you invoke Lord Chaitanya's causeless mercy. And that immediately picks us up to the platform, at least of being in a middle platform in Krishna consciousness. And then if we come to class like this and we expand what Haridas Thakur refers to as the bhakti portion of our hearts. In Krishna consciousness, we're dealing with two types of space. We're dealing with outer space, right? Like now, they want to go to the Mars. There's a huge meteor up there made out of lithium and nickel. And they say if they can bust that thing in pieces and send it back to Earth, that would be more valuable than the entire world's economy for 1,000 years. And in the meantime, they're going to put a casino on the moon so you can stop there for your entertainment and watch them use a nuclear bomb and blow this meteorite out of space. So you're dealing with outer space, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, and Haridas Thakur explains, but there is inner space. So inner space, that's where we connect. That's where we can actually perceive our spiritual self-identity and the spiritual world in Krishna. The whole system of Bhakti Yoga is meant to culminate in developing that Bhakti portion of our heart, and through the cultivation of pure devotional service. So what does that mean? That means service that's free from expectations. When we're willing to do something for a devotee and Krishna without expecting anything in return. The more we practice that, it becomes second nature to us. Yeah, I'll tell you something. When I was a kid, my mom sent me to some class. Oh, I don't know what you want to call it. So what they did with us was some kind of like personal development, life skills class. So what they did with us was they blindfolded us with a blindfold you really couldn't see. And then you stand holding your hands behind your back. And then they have a group of kids circle around you. And then what they do is they tell you, okay, now fall without catching yourself. So at first you don't want to do it, right? You always throw your hands out because you're afraid you're going to hit the ground, right? But as you do it again and again, gradually you realize, hey, everybody's naturally just catching me. I mean, yeah, they might let you fall a little farther than you're expecting because it's really funny. But they don't let you get hurt. And gradually, by doing this exercise, you develop faith in other people, that people in general are going to do the right things for you, and they're going to take care of you, right? So pure devotional service is like that. When we surrender and we do things on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, then gradually we realize, wow, actually, this is so much better than sense gratification. We develop a taste, and then that taste further develops into attachment, like we won't give it up even for $1 billion. And then that attachment develops into spontaneous love. And that's what we're talking about with the gopis and Krishna. See, even Radharani, she wants to be the servant. She doesn't want to be the supreme goddess. She wants to serve, and she pushes the other gopis forward. Okay, so I'm going to give you one story, and then I'm going to stop here, all right? So during the monsoon season, just before Janmashtami, in India, you've seen it, is we celebrate Julan Yatra. So Julan is the swing festival, right? You've seen it? Where we swing Radha and Krishna? Everybody's seen that, right? We swing Radha and Krishna. Okay. So Radha and Krishna have a number of swings, but one of their swings, it's called the, let me think if I can remember that. It's called the Padma Hindola. So a hindola is different than a normal swing. A normal swing is just like a board, right? Or a padded seat with the ropes, and you sit side by side with someone, or you sit on it by yourself and you hold the ropes, right? And you swing. But a hindola is the kind of swing where you face another person. Have you guys ever had that in your lives, in your families, right? You had a seat, like it was like two bench love seat kind of things, and they face, or sometimes just one, but usually it's for two people or three people. And then the way the whole swing's designed, it'll have a canopy and it goes back and forth, and you're looking at the persons that are on the swing with you. called a hindola in Sanskrit. So a Padma hindola is a lotus flower hindola. So the Padma hindola, it has a seed for Radharani and a seed for Krishna, and they look like, they're very beautiful. They're all inlaid with like jewels and pearls and silk, fine silk padding, and there's a footrest, and there's armrests, and there's a backrest. And Radha and Krishna face each other. And the way you get on this swing, we were talking a little bit about Vrindadevi. This is one of the things that Vrindadevi does with her friends. Her friends are called Van Devis. That means the girls of the forest, or the goddesses of the forest. So what they do, come on in, feel free. So what they do is Vrindadevi, they take silk and they tie it and braid it into a rope with pearls, and they hang it on the branches of two huge, what's that flower? It's like a pinkish and white, they're round. Krishna's famous, he's called this name sometimes. It blooms in the rainy season. They're in Mayapur. So many of these trees are there. But in Vrindavan, it's very famous for this. It'll come to me. This type of flower. What? They're round, they're white and pink. Kadamba. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so there's a Kadamba flower tree. So there's this one place, it's called Tir Kadamba. It's a forest of Kadamba trees. And when they bloom, the air in that forest just is, the fragrance of those Kadamba flowers wafts through the forest. And the forest is on the bank of the Jamuna. So the cooling breezes coming off the river add with the fragrance of the Kadamba, and it's a perfect place for Radha and Krishna to meet. And at the Tir Kadamba, the Vrindadevi, they take this beautiful swing. So I was talking about the swing. So there's two thrones that face each other. And then around the thrones, there's 8 petal-like thrones for the 8 gopis. Right? Lalita, Vishaka, Sudevi, Rangadevi. Sudevi and Rangadevi are sisters. So you have Lalita, Vishaka, Sudevi, Rangadevi, Induleka, Chitraleka, and who else? Tungavidya and Champaka. Thank you. So those 8 seats are for those 8 gopis, and then around them, there's 16 more seats, like petals. And there, each one of those gopis, like Lalita, has 2 main manjaris, they're referred to, but they're maid-serving girls that take care of those girls, right? So who is Lalita's manjaris? Rati Manjari and Tulsi Manjari. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're coming the line of Lalita. Our line, this Gaudiya Vaishnava line is coming in the line of Lalita and Rati and Rupa. But Lalita's gopis are Rati and Tulsi. Thank you. Yeah, Rupa Manjari. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Radharani herself. So, all right, so we have the Padma Hindola, right? So we have 2 thrones facing each other, 8 thrones around shaped like petals, 16 thrones around that, all on one superstructure, and that's tied to 2 huge Kadamba trees with giant silk ropes that are braided, like the ropes silk ropes they use for the Rath Yatra cart. You could get 10,000 people pulling those ropes, they won't break. And they tie the hindola up. So it's a beautiful pastime. So what happens is Radha and Krishna with the gopis are led to Tir Kadamba by Vrindadevi and her friends, and they show the swing. So once they show the swing to Radha and Krishna, Krishna asks Radharani to get on the swing, but Radharani says no. Why is Radharani so stubborn? Is she stubborn? She's trying to give more pleasure to Krishna. So her unwillingness to submit to Krishna's desire does what? Makes him what? It makes his desire stronger. It makes his desire stronger. And then Krishna, he has to do so many things, right? And Krishna enjoys that when he's forced out of love to do things. So then, Lalita says, why are you being like that? Just get on the swing. It's so beautiful. Vrinda Devi's got it. Get on the swing and everything. And Radharani is like, why should I get on the swing with Krishna? You get on the swing. So they're arguing a little bit like that, just playful arguments. And, it's quite interesting the way they talk to each other. Like, I'll give you just a little bit of insight. Like, when Lalita and the gopis were walking with Radharani to meet Krishna, so Krishna knows that, right? Krishna does a few things. Like, he has a parrot. He has many parrots and different devotees and all these different spies. Krishna has spies. So he'll send those spies, like his parrot, to see where Radharani is with the gopis, and then he will try to cut them off. So Krishna, of course, he'll dress himself up really, really beautifully, right? You guys think Radha Kalachandi look beautiful today? So, right, you can imagine Krishna dressing up like that to meet you. Well, here he is. So, when two lovers meet, okay, when they have a genuine, deep, like spontaneous love, what happens is their bodies quiver. They shake out of desire to embrace. So what happens is Radharani was holding, like the gopis will walk together, sometimes they hold each other's hands, sometimes they put their arms on each other's shoulders, and they walk like that. And Krishna came, he found out where they were and how they were walking. So Krishna came to this gateway, and he stood there at the gateway, and he was showing off, right, how beautiful he is, and he was glancing at them, and making himself irresistible to them. So Radharani, when she saw Krishna, she started to quiver. Okay, and when she was quivering, it's one of the symptoms of Mahabhav. That's what we're talking about here in these verses, what these gopis are experiencing. Okay, so what Lalita is asked Radharani, oh my God, why are you shaking like that? Is it because of the two big golden mountains you're carrying on your chest that you're quivering so much? He said, but don't worry, that's Giridhari over there. He's expert at holding up mountains. So they tease and they joke each other out of this in a conjugal, loving way with Krishna, right? And with one another. So they were teasing Krishna. Radharani wasn't agreeing to get on the swing. So finally they coaxed her and all these, and everything and they got on the swing. Radharani got on the swing with Krishna. And they started to swing. So the gopis were pushing the swing with their hands, like you guys can imagine yourself, like as if you were there pushing the swing, right? So they're pushing the swing, and they're singing in Brijabasi language. There's many songs about the Julian Yatra, but a couple of them are written in the Brijabasi language. Anybody of you here can speak in Brijabasi? You guys ever learn that? When you go to Vrindavan, you could learn it pretty easy. Anyway, so then they were pushing the swing, and they're singing in a cappella. A cappella means without instruments, and they're just singing in harmony with each other. And they're singing about how beautiful Radha and Krishna look together and how wonderful they are and everything. And so at that time, it was the beginning of the monsoon season, and it was very hot. It's the end of the summer, so it's quite hot. So the clouds gathered over where Radha and Krishna were because they want to serve Radha and Krishna. Anybody who meets Radha and Krishna, they want to serve them. Why? Because Radha and Krishna pay really good. Huh? Because why do they want to serve them? Right? Does Radha and Krishna buy? Okay, let's just look at that. Take a step back from it for a minute. Okay, because we're running out of time. But just for a minute, let's take a step back. If you were to take, like, say, the greatest girl in the world today. Who's the greatest girl in the world today? Listen to, man, our brahmacharis, Melania Trump and Brajman, he said his wife is the greatest girl. Man, you guys are really well trained up, man. Very politically correct. Okay, let's say, who's the singer? What's her name? The country western singer. She's really popular, right now. Not Kelly. No, yeah, she's gonna marry this football player. She's dating him. What's her name? Huh? Swift. Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's gonna marry this guy. She's dating this this professional football player. So Taylor, anyway, so yeah, Taylor, right? So you can imagine, right? Taylor, she's a billionaire, right? She just did a $1 billion concert tour, and she's beautiful, and she sings really good, and what else? Maybe she's really friendly. I see the way she talks to people. She's very friendly. Okay, and then let's just talk about the greatest guy in the world right now. Who's that? Taylor Swift's football player, fiance. Is that the greatest guy for Taylor? Who's a guy? Like the most popular guy in the whole wide world right now? Come on, you guys. Just throw somebody's name out there. Who? Oh man, this guy's listening to the news. Too much. Okay, let's just give a hypothetical. All right, let's say like a guy who's like really handsome. He's funny. He's adventurous. He's intelligent. He's very loving, and hopefully he's got some money. All right, and then they both come together, right? Say you turn on whatever, some movie, right? And, oh my God, these two are together. And this movie, oh, I got to watch this. All right. So, we're naturally attracted, right, to somebody who's beautiful, someone that's rich, someone that's intelligent, someone that's powerful, someone that's, what else? Strong, and somebody who's renounced. What does renunciation mean? Failed in the material world. Couldn't get a girl. Oh, God. and money. No. Lord Chaitanya had a beautiful wife, like the goddess of fortune. He had an affectionate mother. He had all thousands of students in his school. He was very rich, Lord Chaitanya, and he renounced and took sannyas. Why? For a higher purpose of serving Krishna. Yeah, it's not because if somebody fails in the material world that they take the renounced order. A person takes the renounced order to help others in the world, to spend all their energy, to trying to help others. That's the real renunciation. Okay, so anyway, back to the beautiful couple. All right, now, let's say, so she's the most beautiful woman in the entire planet, the whole world, and he's the most amazing guy. Now, and they love you 10 times more. Okay, if you're a guy, it's the girl. If it's the girl, it's the guy. I'm sorry, I'm old school. All right, and they love you 10 times more than anybody you'd ever met. Yeah, it's 8:32. I'm gonna stop now in a minute. But let's just imagine this ultimate guy and ultimate girl, and they love you 10 times more than anyone you'd ever met. How would that make you feel? Right? Wouldn't you want to be with that person? Wouldn't you like want to hang out with them a little bit? Sometimes, wouldn't you answer the phone if they called? All right, let's say if they you multiplied it 100 times. That'd be really intense, right? Like you'd always want to be with the person, like they'd totally capture you, right? They were funny, you know, adventurous, handsome, beautiful, and they loved you 100 times more than anyone you'd ever met. That'd be like, oh my God, man, that would be amazing to me. I'd be running after the person. I'd be with them all the time, 100% of the time. And multiply it 1,000 times, 10,000 times, millions upon millions of times, and then you start getting close to what it means to be with Radha and Krishna. So when these devotees are with Radha and Krishna, and they are totally falling over themselves out of love and affection, and they just want to be with Radha and Krishna, and they don't want to do anything else. They don't want to go anywhere else. They don't want to talk about anything else. That's what we're talking about here with these gopis and Krishna. So they get on the swing, they start swinging, Radha and Krishna together back and forth, right? So one name of Krishna is Sham, and one name of Radharani is Shama. So as they were pushing the swing, so the gopis would tell Krishna, hey Krishna, or no, hey Shama, slow down. And then they would go the other way, and then they would say, hey Shama, Radharani, hey Shama, hold on. So they're going back and forth. Sham, slow down. Because when you're on the swing, you can make it go faster. And then when the Radharani is going back, they're saying, Shama, hold on. And he keeps going, and it's going higher and higher, this huge swing with all of them on it. And they're pushing it, and they're singing, and they're having kirtan, they're singing about Radha and Krishna, and they're pushing so hard. And then what happens is, one of the branches of this Kadamba tree, which were moving up and down as the swing was going back and forth, it was fanning them naturally. But one of them, Radharani was getting scared because the swing was going so high, and the branch touched her on the back, and she screamed, ah! And she let go, and she fell right into Krishna's arms. And all of the gopis go, woo! Right? So anyway, they slow the swing down. Okay, I'm going to finish here. 2 more minutes. And then they slowed the swing down. And then what happened was Vrinda Devi and her friends had a big breakfast. Well, actually, it happened about lunchtime. They had all this special fruits and all these different sweets and donuts and snacks and all kinds of like amazing like treats, refreshments, drinks, and all kinds of cool stuff. So all the gopis and Radha and Krishna had these snacks, and then they started going again on the swing. So what happened on the second time was Lalita leans over to Radharani and says, hey Radhe, why don't we have a rasa dance on the swing? And Radharani says to Lalita, how is it possible? You know, and Lalita says, hey, that's Shyamasundar sitting next to you, wherever he is. Anything is possible. So they start dancing, and as they start dancing on the swing, Radha and Krishna, the swing starts to expand. And as it comes down past the gopis start getting onto the swing. And Krishna starts to expand himself. And by the time this special swing had fully manifested itself, there were 3 million gopis dancing with Radha and Krishna on this swing. And they danced for the entire night of Lord Brahma, which is 31 trillion 150 billion years. They danced on the swing together in Krishna's Leela. Shri Shri Radha Krishna ki jai. Okay, it's breakfast time. Gopal wants me to shut up. So I'm going to stop right now. Thank you. Thank you, Gopal. He spent a hard day's labor. He did 6 Mangal Artiks last week, and he really wants to get you guys in there to eat so he can go home and get a nap. Everybody, you got to go right now. Don't waste even a second more, otherwise Gopal is going to hate me more than he hates me already. Okay, you guys, have a great day. Hare Krishna.
I just don't want them to be the loser because they want to hear, which is a good thing. But when the prasad is out, everybody else is going for it. Then you stay in here because you want to hear, which is a nice thing. And then you come in and you have no prasad. So, no, you just have to. No, I think you're doing good.
No, thank you. I'm sorry, I should not have said that. That was very offensive. I just wanted to make sure Gopal understood that. Hare Krishna. Have a great day, you guys. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
So how do you like that beat? You like